Hi, welcome back to HowToAV.tv. We're still here at ISE and we've found the audio expert himself. We've got Chuck Espinoza, mad sound guy. One of the questions that we've been asked is the latest on commercial amplifiers. We're hearing a lot about the Class D amplifier, Chuck.
To understand what a Class D amplifier does, we kind of have to understand what the other classes do. Without a 3-day explanation, see if I can put this in a nutshell. A Class A amplifier, the big thing with the Class A is the output transformer stays on all the time. So if that Class A is a 100-watt amplifier, it's pulling 100 watts. Regardless if there's signal or not, it's pulling that 100 watts. If there's nothing to output, it just converts it into heat and lets it go through the heat sink. Say, for example, a Class AB amplifier. If it's a 100-watt Class AB amplifier, it's going to pull like 20 watts until it needs that 100 watts, then it'll pull it out, and then it'll go back down to pulling 20. And this is a real layman's explanation. So the AB is a little bit more efficient than the A because it's not constantly pulling that 100 watts. A Class D amplifier, if there's no signal going through it, it's not going to pull wattage. It's going to wait for the signal to come up, and it has a switching transformer. It works off pulse width modulation. So when it gets a signal, if it's a very, very loud signal, it's a very, very wide pulse, and it gives it a lot of energy. If it's a small signal, small pulse, a little bit of energy. But it turns off and on. And it does some other things. There's some filtering in there for the noise in between the turning off and on. But the big difference is the D isn't going to stay on. It's going to be a lot more efficient. The A is going to stay on all the time. Now, there's pros and cons to each one. The D, of course, it's efficient. It can be smaller. It doesn't have these big transformers and capacitors. It puts out a little bit higher wattage with the space that it takes up. But some people don't like the sound of it. They say it sounds very digital. And it's kind of a hybrid amp, but it's a very digital sounding amplifier. You know, you get the old, I want that warm feeling of the amplifier having heat in it, and that the Class A delivers because it is on constantly. And that power is available instantly. There's no filtering, there's no switching that has to go on. It's just throwing out straight power. So some people really like the sound of that. Personally, I've seen installations that there's an audiophile and someone who's very much into, you know, listening to music and they want that Class A. That's great. It's a good purpose for it. We just have to make sure there's cooling and whatnot. For a majority of installations in the commercial industry, you know, just speech and talking and video teleconferencing, those Class Ds are wonderful. Very small, very efficient. Very inexpensive, and we can go put one in, bing, bang, boom, and we're done. And you can keep the rack in a cabinet that's sealed, and it doesn't get as hot as it would with a Class A. So big differences. One stays on, gets hot, sounds good in some people's opinion. One switches on and off, doesn't get so hot, does the job for most things.
Chuck, thank you very much. That's a simple explanation of the Class D amplifier. Got any more questions on amplification, Class D, audio installation? Leave us a comment right below and we'll get back to you.